Yo,
Are you guys ready?
for episode 2,
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Are we on?
Yes, and so just for everybody here, oops, I gotta untag my phone 1 second. We're on the IG live too.
Is the Facebook live up? Okay, yeah, okay, I see myself. I say it is what it is. No, I'm joking.
There we go.
Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 2
Of Venus the podcast. Big thanks to DJ Boybap, aka Darcy Rathbone, for our introduction song that he made just for us.
And Chun for the very cute little pixel versions of us. I don't know what you
Yes.
call those, pixel art.
Yes.
Very, very cute.
And shout out to Alice in the back, making this all happen with all her tech stuff.
Yes.
Hello.
The amount of lights and what do you call them, camera stands and
And cords and
Just-
cables.
electronics we have happening is like insane.
I can talk as well.
Yes, she has a mic this time, so like if you guys have questions for Alice, you can ask her as well.
And shout out to Bev at the dining table, doing her work. Alright, just so before we get started, guys, just a disclaimer that this podcast, everything said is pretty much our opinion, our thoughts. Please don't think when condemning anybody with anything that we may say. It's an open conversation, so please feel free. Which camera? I'm looking at the. Okay, there we are. Please feel free to comment in the comment section on either Facebook or on our Instagram live.
Or if
Okay?
you just want to wait till the end, we usually have a Q&A at the Q&A session at the very end of our live, so you can wait for that too. So up to you.
Yeah. Alrighty. So you want to get started?
What are we talking about today, Jazz?
We're talking about confidence.
I was like waiting to match it. Confidence.
Confidence. I was going to say dance, but I thought it might trigger Alice. Confidence.
So I'm just going to
Confidence.
quickly run through like how we're going to structure our podcast today, because you know we want to be prepared
Yes.
and have structure and seem professional, you know. So we're gonna talk about confidence in a more general term and like just as a human being, and then we're gonna filter it down to like being as a female, like our confidence as a female, and then as a dancer, and then go into even more specific. We're gonna talk about confidence in a battle, cypher, jam, or showcase setting. Yes.
Boom. Please feel free to discuss these topics with us
Yeah.
in the comment section.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys because these questions are coming from you guys, so we want to hear your stories.
Yes.
So I want to start off with Jazz. Like, how do you define confidence?
Tiff. That's a hard question.
Yes, it is.
So, personally for me, I have always found that confidence is defined differently with everybody based on experience. For me, it's having pretty close to something Tiff and I talked about, pretty close to definition that you have the belief in yourself that you can achieve something, even if there's obstacles in your way, but you will find the way to reach that end goal.
Yeah, to have that self-belief that you can overcome any adversity and reach the goal, or like to accomplish any task that you set out for yourself. Yeah. Yes.
Boom.
For example, I have like a full like page written down.
Document.
Because like for this podcast, I really wanted to do my research and like figure out ways that I can help you guys to achieve like better confidence and like be more introspective and learn more about ourselves. So I actually watched a lot of TED Talks. I read a lot of articles about like confidence building and how to be more confident, and tools that, you know, people of all walks of life use to build their confidence. So example would be, you might be shitting bricks before you step into a cypher.
Literal.
But you will do it anyway,
bricks.
even though you're terrified. So you acknowledge your fear, but you still go in and do it anyways. I think that's like a very like nutshell definition of what I see as confidence. Like knowing that the fear is there, but still going ahead and doing it. Yeah.
Overcoming that boundary, pushing through that crowd, getting to that point.
Exactly. So let's move on to like confidence, generally speaking, as like a human being functioning in society. Like what, like this is one thing that I learned from one of the TED Talks, was that a lot of people, or like just generally speaking, the way we look at confidence is we see confidence as something that it's nice to have,
Maybe.
but it's not like a must have. Whereas I think we should start shifting our perspective. We should start shifting our perspective around confidence as a concept, that it's something that we should strive to have in our lives. Like, it's like a necessity instead of something that, it's not something that, like, it'll be nice to have, because I feel like confidence is something that will help you like tremendously in all aspects of life. Yeah, exactly.
Because I've met a lot of people and spoken to a lot of people, because for those who are watching, or anybody who watches this in the future, something that Tiff and I get asked quite often is, how are you so confident? Where do you get your confidence from? It took lots of work, lots of years, and we weren't just born this way. Yeah. So you might come across some people in your life who just radiate positivity, radiate just really engaging energy. And then when you meet people like that, you're like, wow, how do you get there? What are the steps to get there and stuff? So a question maybe in the generalization on like our views of confidence and stuff like that. What are some steps, do you think, Tiff, that helped you become the person that you are in relation to confidence?
I think one big one is recognizing why I am not confident.
Yeah. Like
recognizing internally, what are the things that are stopping me from being confident? Because you can't go ahead and just apply steps when you don't know why you're not confident.
I am confident.
Yeah, like you have to figure out what's wrong first and then apply the remedy to fix it.
Yes.
So figure out internally, why are you unconfident? Is it because you feel you don't match up to people around you? Do you feel like you're not qualified, you're not skillful enough? Because, like, for example, things like you're not skillful enough, you can work on that. You can practice and, like, build. Go learn stuff, upskill, you know?
Is there any... So I'll answer this question as well, just to make it easier for others who are watching to understand. Can you give an example of, like, a pivotal moment in your life where you remember something happening and then it made you flip 180 and, like, rethink about the person you wanted to be confidence-wise? Is there anything that happened to you? You're like coming in with the big questions.
I don't think it was like a definitive moment. It's just accumulation of incidents where I was like, I could have done better if I just believed in myself. And it was just like so many small moments that just made me feel like, wow, like Tiff, you already fucked up so many times. It's time to like turn it around and actually do something about it. And even till now, I have moments where I lose confidence in myself, or like I get up there and I'm like, again, shit breaks, like literally on stage, like shitting bricks. But you know, you think back to all the times before that you were shitting bricks and you still did it, and you're like, oh, I did it once before, I can do it again. And it's more, like I said at the beginning, it's more acknowledging the fear is there, but still going ahead and doing that. Yeah, does that make sense? Because I don't feel like anything has like drastically 180 flipped for me. I'm still that person that has those fears inside me, but it's just learning how to deal with them and control them. Yeah.
And it's so funny because I think we all deal with it very differently. So, for example, personally, me, I've had, it's like accumulation, but I've had so many moments where I'm like, oh, like I wish I did that better, or oh, I can do that better. But I remember I was on the bus with my friend Johnny. This is when I think this is after high school, probably after high school. And we're young adults coming out into the world. We're like, we're adults now. No, we're not. We're bloody children. And we're coming home on the bus, and we had this conversation, and Johnny's really been someone who's helped me help me be the best version of me that I can possibly be. And it was so simple, but he literally said to me, well, you know, if you just say that you're confident, eventually you might manifest it, right? And I was like, I've never actually thought to think that I could be confident, or like to say that I'm confident, because I was the type of person all throughout high school, and I am still, like you said, it happens in instances every now and again where I'm like, I just don't have any faith in what I'm doing. I don't believe in myself, and then I have to learn how to pick myself back up. But then I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. I was really young back then. This is years ago, and I thought, I'm confident. And then I watched an interview, and someone, who was it? Oh, Paris Gabel. One thing she does before she performs is, it's not vanity, it's not anything that's selfish. She will then just hold herself, and she'll be like, I am a queen. I believe in myself. I am confident. I am all these empowering words. And I just thought, wow, that's so powerful, like something to do for yourself. And so that was a pivotal moment for me. Something really simple and really small, but something that made me think, oh, I can actually do this. you know?
That's something I'm going to touch on further into the podcast about self-affirmation and positive reinforcement, because that's really important as well too. Self-uplift and uplift others as well. Oh crap, I was going to say something. I have a mind blank.
Segue.
Oh, I was going to say that, like, I kind of follow something along the same lines about, like, you know how you said you think about it and then you manifest. Like, if you say, I am confident.
Yep.
You are confident. You know, you don't let yourself down. I kind of do something similar. I call it fake it till you make it. Yeah. Like, just act like, even if you're not confident, just act like you're confident. You know, people can't tell. Well, they can kind of, but as in, if you can fool yourself, you can fool other people.
I know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Exactly. Like last week when we did our first podcast, when we started, I was so nervous, but I just pushed her. I was like, Tiff, you stepped up to do this podcast. You have to be brave and like speak your mind and just trust that you can articulate yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it's also acknowledging that, and it's really hard to acknowledge that you will make mistakes, and there's going to be things that you may feel or may say that you may disagree with in like a month's time, in a few weeks' time, but it's a part of the process and it's okay. I think that's one of the things I've had to learn over the course of like years, and something that's taken me and a lot of people lots of time.
Another thing I want to talk about is like just general terms, like with confidence. I think a lot of people mistake confidence as being, oh, you're super outspoken, you're not afraid to be like just speak your mind, blah blah. But I feel like
talk to
confidence
people
is so much more than just being outspoken. It's like believing in yourself. It's very much an internal thing. It's not so much something that comes out of your mouth and like, oh, that person's confident. Some of the loudest people could be the most insecure people.
Oh, hands up, chirp, hands up, chirp, chirp. Crickets.
You know, like
100%
you have
agree.
to think deeper than face value when it comes to confidence.
Just because, for example, Tiff and I might be the loudest at an event, it's not coming from, oh, they're so confident, they're so loud. It's more, well, actually, one of our friends who has probably never entered a battle before is like just going for gold and is radiating her own or his own confidence and journey. Like, we're just happy and we're just trying to like pump them up. So something to keep in mind.
Yes.
Sniffle.
Cool. Another thing, like, again, general terms, confidence speaking, like when you're working on a project or you're making career choices or even like demanding things like, oh, I want a raise. Confidence is a big thing that comes into it. Like, how are you going to go about like demanding things for yourself? It is hard because we're always taught to be like humble, be grateful, don't ask for too much. But we're living in a day and age, if you don't ask and you don't fight for it, it's never gonna come. So how do you go about doing things like this where you kind of have to step up and be like, I want this and this is why I need it, or this is why I deserve it, and you have to give it to me, kind of thing.
And I think it's hard as well because, for example, in the workplace, you have completed said tasks. You are, bringing so much to the table, and you really believe in yourself, your work ethic, and what you can do. I think there has to be room and there has to be a conversation that allows you to feel good about what you do, that you can ask for these things. I think there's too much taboo about, oh, no, don't do that. You might, step on toes to get where you want to be. Well, I want to be there, so I'll be as kind as I possibly can. I'll just speak from my heart and be, as genuine as I can. And if I can get there, then I'll get there,
Another thing, like, regarding to what you just said is, like, on your journey, you can't please every single person along the way. There will always be people who don't like what you're doing or disagree with what you're saying. So what's the fucking point trying to make everyone happy when you know that there's always going to be that one bitch, at least that one bitch who's like, oh my God, what the fuck is she doing? Like, if you know that there's always that person there, it makes life so much easier because you're like, there's always going to be that one person doesn't like it. I don't have to care about it. Like, even if there's like more than one person, I'm just going to focus on the people who are there to uplift me, to encourage me, and to take me to where I want to go. Those are the people you should focus on, not the people who are hating on you. Yeah.
And I think that's always going to be hard. So, for example, if you really want to see change within the workplace, with any policies or like processes that you do, there will always be those walls, and by those walls I mean those people who cannot take on change too well. So I think it's also conversations that apply to many different areas of your life where you need to learn how to approach it so that, yes, you're confident, but you're not an asshole. And I think it depends on the language that you use as well. So something to talk about with your friends, with your family. Something I've learnt with my family. I used to be very quiet, very timid. I was like a yes/no child and would always obey my parents. And now that I'm older, I'm like, what the fuck, mum? Like, we don't need that. Or I'm like, Dad, we don't need another lounge. We need a dining table. And stuff like that. But now that I'm older, of course, I never swore. It's not swearing at my parents. We're swearing in conversation. And I never did this as a kid or like as a teenager. But now that I'm older, I now have the confidence just to be leveled with them and just be real with them. And hopefully, others can achieve that for themselves as well.
Another thing I want to add to like when you're in a workplace making career choices and demanding change, another good way to go about it is figuring out what your worth is and what your value is in that workplace. Because once you know what your worth is, what your value is, it makes you understand why you deserve these things that you're demanding for. And once you understand why you deserve these things, it gives you confidence to carry out the actions that will take you there.
Turn up.
Does that make sense? Like, felt like that was a very long sentence, but once you know your why you're deserving of these things, it makes you like, okay, now I know that I deserve these things, I can go get them.
And also I think the whole deserving these things, it also applies to rephrase, everyone has different experiences, and so you will come across times in your life where you genuinely feel like, no, I don't deserve it. Think about it, digest it, and take those steps. Or if you have to write it out. Sometimes I can't pull out the ideas in my head. I can't pull out everything that I'm thinking because my mind goes crazy. There's 1,000 things I'm thinking of. I write it down and I think, okay, I'm not achieving this. I'm feeling really shitty about myself. What is it that I actually want? Okay, how do I get there? And having the strength to talk about it with other people is really valuable. I
was about to add to the talking to other people, because I find that sometimes introspection doesn't work because you are your worst critic, right? The first thing you see are the worst things. Whereas if you talk to a friend, they always see the best in you. I promise you. Like,
can you bring up the New Caledonia thing?
Yeah.
She ain't ready for the smoke. Everyone.
Yeah, this is like a heavy case of imposter syndrome, which is another thing I'll talk about later. But last year, like March before RF Jam, I was asked by Alice,
Big Boss,
and Raisa from New Caledonia to attend a battle called Stand Up Battle. And it's like I get flown out to New Caledonia. I get to like teach a workshop and like do all these like amazing, just crazy stuff. Like I was like, what? Like I was so shook when Alice asked me, and I remember feeling so unworthy of the opportunity. I was like, I do not deserve this. Like there has to be better people out there who can do this job better than me. And I was like, why did Alice pick me?
And then you got me in the back. Yeah. And I'm like, what's she talking about? You deserve this. Who else is kind, wants to share, is giving, and actually has the skill set and the love for it? Like, I know we all say we love this and, we have this experience and that, but I think it's a whole separate thing to send someone to be more than just a standard teacher. It's about what can they give to the people as people, not as dancers. What can, we give? People. What else can they give other than just dance? She can give you friendship. She can give you love. She can give you advice. She can give you all these other amazing things besides dance. And I think that's something that a lot of people do struggle with. She is confident with herself and her skill set, and she's going to learn more about that because she deserved to go. And I was really stoked for her, as the rest of her friends were. But yeah, it's so funny because I look at her and I'm like, yes, bitch, get on that plane.
Yeah.
Go have this experience.
I think my friends made me realize that, opportunities don't get thrown at you unless you're ready for them.
Yeah.
They're not just like pop out of nowhere. Wow, I'm so lucky. It's not that. Yeah. You receive that opportunity because you have worked towards that point to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And it's Alice. Alice wouldn't just pick anybody.
True.
Alice is scary.
And I think you have to trust that people are making informed decisions about you. They're not just going to throw or like drop money on you. Yeah. Fly you out if they think you're shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect you to say that. If I was shit, like, why would they bother sending me out?
So I'm not shit, but I'm the shit, right? Is that what you're saying?
Like, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying, like, people pick you or like give you opportunities for a reason, and you just have to believe that they saw something in you.
Yeah,
Maybe
they
you don't
believe
see,
in you.
yeah, maybe you don't see it in yourself right now, but just go ahead, do the job, and maybe you'll find out something about yourself that you didn't realize before.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in the general side of things, or do you want to segue this into your confidence as a dancer? Or
Female.
Female. Okay, female.
Let's go into like female confidence.
Snap. And this is something that I think would benefit anyone else watching who does not identify as male as well. Are you good?
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I need to burp.
Yeah, I just made it more like binary because I was reading like articles that was very like just focus on male, female, but
yes,
I'm sure. Sorry, I just had to like
just take a moment.
Some gas. It was a bit of gas that was like stuck in my throat. I was like, ugh.
We're taking turns, yo.
But yeah, it was more like binary, like female, male. But I'm sure there's articles out there like related to like non-binary, gender, confidence stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, one of the big ones as a female in terms of confidence, I think, is speaking up in a public space. And I mentioned to you before, mansplaining. I'm sure we have both, or many of the females listening right now have experienced mansplaining. Like for me, weirdly, it hasn't really happened too much outside, like in the dance space or whatever, but it happens at home. Can you fucking believe it? So, not to drag my dad, but like sometimes, say my whole family's sitting together.
Nung family, tune in.
Yeah, we're sitting together, we're talking about something, anything. I would explain like a certain concept or like whatever's going on to my dad, and then he would like ask someone else to explain it again, but what they say is essentially what I said. And I asked him like, Dad, do you just not trust in the stuff that I say? And he's like, oh no, I just want to get a second perspective. Like, I understand that as well, but sometimes it's very like, I'm like, but he literally just said the exact same thing that I did. Like, why did you not believe me when I said it the first time? Or he tries to like, explain it again where I'm like, but that's exactly what I just said. Like, fuck.
I feel like a lot of people could probably relate to this. It's probably happened within your schooling, within your general life, and especially as an adult.
Yeah.
For me, it has happened to me from people in my family, but as I've grown older, I've become a lot stronger and obviously a lot more of a personality, more than some of my family can handle nowadays. But a lot of it personally for me came from the workplace. So here's the tea, people. I'm about to drop a sad story about what happened to me in the workplace. So I used to work in this place in a hospital somewhere. I'm trying to be as like not descriptive as possible. And my manager at the time was going through his own stuff. He had his own things going on. But keep in mind, please, we're in a very professional setting. He's a very high tier manager, and you got to keep it as professional as you possibly can. So I had made a mistake on a document in a meeting, a very small mistake. It was just naming someone's job title incorrectly. Mind you, it wasn't even my fault. I had copy and pasted from a document from a colleague, so it wasn't even my fault. Anyway, in the meeting, he had decided that it would be okay to ridicule me for the mistake, other than just being like, oh, hi, Jasmine, I've noticed that his title's written as this. It's actually this. Do you mind correcting it? And I was like, yep, no problem. That's fine and that's easy. No issues. Keep it clear, concise, done. No, he continued to call me retarded in a professional setting, in a meeting room with over 15 people. And, me being very young at the time, I think I was 20, 21. I didn't know how to react. I didn't think to defend myself or think to say anything that's not okay. But the worst part was no one in the room stood up for me. No one in the room checked him. And the worst part was when I thought about it, I was like, oh my gosh, in this room setting of over 15 people, there were only 2 women in the room, me and my manager, my other admin manager at the time. I had 2 managers. She didn't say anything. No, none of the other men in the room said anything. And I kind of like blew it off. I'm like, oh, he's going through it. He's just having a bad day. And then he had made a mistake, and I had forwarded an email, which he told me to forward. I had all the receipts and everything. He told me to do it. He then came into my office, stood above me while I was sitting down, and told me to check it. He was pointing on the paper. He was pushing papers in front of me and speaking to me very aggressively. I had explained to him very clearly and concisely, the best I could under that pressure, why it happened. This is what happened. and how we can fix it. I was like, okay, well, actually, I can recall this email and then da-da-da. He then proceeded to repeat everything I said, but in his own words. And I thought,
It's like, boy, I just explained it to you.
I just said it to you. But because he had already made the decision walking into my space that I was wrong and that I didn't deserve to be spoken to or treated the way any human should, that's what happened. And he told me that I had, this is actually quite triggering and not a nice thing for anybody to hear. He then told me that I had a cognitive impairment. Keep in mind, he is not a doctor. And he told me I had a cognitive impairment while standing over me, re-explaining something I had already just told him. And don't worry, guys. Same day I resigned, and same day I booked flights to Japan.
Because she a bad bitch like that. I would have kicked him in the balls before I left. I'd be like, well, fuck you.
Yeah, I clearly didn't have the confidence to stand up for myself because when he left, I just cried. I called a old manager of mine who did work in that hospital, and she actually, a woman, she helped me get out of that job same day. She then filed a complaint, and I was able to not return to that job after that particular day. And it just kind of, that's something that has then critically brought down any form of confidence I had at that age, and it took me years to get back up. I can honestly say I had PTSD from any form of permanent position because that was one of my first permanent jobs, and I was really young. I was 20 and I was making like a shit ton of money, and then I kind of thought no money in the world is worth going through things like that.
100%.
So
know what your priorities are.
yeah, so I think confidence wise, that's something that really brought me down and took me years to build back up. And know your worth and how you deserve to be treated, and don't let that dim your light.
And also, like, regarding your situation when you were in the meeting and like no one else stood up for you, fellow females, I urge you to really step up and speak up for your sisters. Like, you don't understand how important community and support and like empowerment is for an individual. That I was telling her, I feel so much more confident dancing and battling with my crew than I do alone. Because when they're with me, even if they don't say anything, just them being there, and like, I know they've got my back, and like, they, regardless of what weird shit I do, they'll be like, that's my girl.
You drop it low in the middle of your set.
It's like,
did you really need to twerk? Yeah, you did. Okay, get it, girl.
Yeah, and like, just surround yourself with people that are there to uplift you. Like, learn to pick and choose your friends, and like pick people who genuinely want to be there for you, and that will help you build your confidence. Don't try not, like, if you have toxic people around you, really just be cutthroat and be like, either you get your shit together, or I'm gonna cut you out of my life, because I don't have time for you to drain my energy. My energy is precious, and I want to save it for people who I value and people who are worth it.
And that's something that's really hard. And so people will then say, but I have all these toxic people in my life, but I'm too scared to tell them that they're toxic. How do you have the confidence to then bring that up? And I think that just comes with life experience as well. And, you guys, along in your life, you'll have, different friend groups, different friendships. You'll have those friends that you don't talk to for a long time, but you'll still be homies with and stuff. But when it comes to people who really don't make you happy and add to your energy and add to your life, it'll gradually happen, unfortunately, but, don't be afraid to discuss these things.
You might feel like, oh, why is she talking about friends? And, like, that doesn't really relate to confidence. But you'd be so surprised how much, even, like, for me moving from Hong Kong to Sydney, back in Hong Kong, like, I feel Hong Kong is, you can, debate me on that, but this is my experience growing up. There is quite a judgmental city. I remember growing up always being judged on my looks, my career choice, because I already knew from a young age, like when I was like maybe 14, I knew I wanted to dance as a career, and I always got like told like that's not a real job, this and that, not just friends but like family.
Still get told that.
People around me, like older people as well. Like I was not encouraged to love my body, to love who I was. But when I moved to Sydney, people here didn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff. All they cared about was like, oh, she's like putting in the work and like dancing and she's enjoying herself.
Yeah, girl with the
cool.
green yellow
I
hair.
be her friend.
Yeah, girl, get it.
And even like the conversations that come up about me is like very positive. It's like like what Jazz was saying. Oh yeah, like you go New Caledonia, get it, girl. Or like I really like that set you did. It's very positive, and that. You don't know, but slowly it makes you start believing in yourself more. Because other people believe in you, you start believing in yourself.
And that's something that was very important for me. So I remember it was a pivotal point where I'd go to crossover and then I'd stand in the corner because I was too scared to talk to anybody because I didn't know anybody. And then I got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to just be like a decent dancer, a good dancer. I want to be a great dancer. And I kind of thought, oh, well, what do I do? Like, how do I get there? Like, really just ignorant, naive thoughts. And so then, you know, I'd start entering battles and all that good stuff. And then I kind of realized that, you know, I had really awesome support systems from my friends and my teachers. And then I kind of realized I wanted to be that person who, how do I say, I wish I had when I was little, before dance. So like if I thought someone's set was good or like they had something that I just resonated with, like I'll go tell them. And because I kind of realized, and Tiff can advocate for this, no one wanted to talk to me.
She had the maddest resting bitch face. This woman, I was so scared of her.
Yeah.
I met her. Yeah, I think it was my first. Yeah, 2016 dance camp was when I first met Jazz, and she was like one of the teachers. She was like judging, and I was like, because we were like ciphering and whatever during the party, and I saw her dance with Lakan.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wow, she's so good. Like, oh my God. I just kept staring at her. And I saw her like making eye contact. But I was like, ooh, she looked at me. And I was like, but then because she looked so scary, I was like, I don't know if I can talk to her.
And my
so
eyes
Stay
intimidating.
quiet. Like, it was fucking crazy. And I was scared of Bev when I first met her as well.
I think it's just, it's not us, it's you. No, but I get that a lot. And so at that camp, and me and Tiff mention it all the time because it's quite funny to us, I made a lot of friends at that camp who were younger than me in the uni societies, and I realized that if I don't talk to them or if I don't message them first, they will never talk to me because it became very prevalent that I have a problem, and that is my face. Well, it just sucked because, for example, it's something I took very seriously at some point because I was judged on the way I looked for the longest, like all throughout my life. And then another thing came up. Oh, you know, you have like a resting bitch face. You'd never smile. And I was like, wow. Okay, I need to be more conscious of this. And so I actually put in effort to smile more and to like just be more open-eyed and just less like this. So yeah, and
now she looks psycho.
Now I'm too much for anyone to handle, but too bad you're stuck with me, so deal. Yep.
Yeah, back to the whole like being a female and being confident. I actually read in an article that covered this study by, how do you say that name? What university? Because I was like Cornell, but
Cornell University.
Oh, it is Cornell.
Yeah, Cornell.
I
was just making fun of the word.
I thought I was pronouncing it wrong.
No, I was being silly.
Found that men tend to overestimate their abilities and performance while women underestimate both. When in fact their actual performance does not differ in quality or quantity. So even though like a male and female, they have the same say resume, women just tend to like underestimate themselves. They're like, no, I can't do it, I won't meet the requirements. Whereas like, no, you 100% meet the requirements, you just don't have the confidence to step up.
Why do we think that is? I think there's multiple things, and it also comes back to like within societies.
Yeah, I think it's a historical thing.
Yeah. So I actually have a friend in France, and he's having a live on his Instagram, I think next week. And the topic is, do you think women will be seen as equal in France in the near future? Which I thought was really interesting. So then it provoked me to go learn about France and its history, because I am going to put my hand up. I didn't know much about it at all. So France, right? So for example, I'm not going to get my years correct, but France was late to the party when it comes to women's rights. So they, for example, USA and Australia were like in the early 1900s, 1920s, 40s, whatever it was. Sorry, don't quote me. You'll find it on the internet. It didn't happen for them for another 20 to 40 years later. And it kind of just blows my mind. I'm like, what do you mean? Shouldn't we all be like kind of almost on the same page, like around the world? But no, it's just the reality. It's not how it is. And so, you know, women underestimate themselves. And I think it's out of fear as well, and the historical reasons as to, you know, I am seen as weaker, and, you know, there are a lot of men who are in higher positions and higher power.
And I think there's a stigma around strong women. Like when a woman is assertive, strong, outspoken, sure of themselves, they're seen as unattractive or like they're like
bitchy.
Yeah, like bitchy or like, you know.
What's your problem?
Like,
I get that all the time.
Like, in the workplace, you see a lot of films where like devils wear Prada. She's just fucking doing her job. Why is she called the devil? Like, she's just doing her job and she can do it really, really well.
She a bad bitch.
You know, I feel like we have this attachment or like, what's that word?
Is it?
I have another mind blank. Whatever. But yeah, we but we just associate strong women with negative things.
I get that all the time.
But like, what about a strong like male leader in a workplace? We fucking praise that shit. They're like fucking heroes. Same thing should be for women, like strong women. I know now it's changed a lot. It's definitely changed a lot, and women are definitely way more respected and acknowledged in a workplace. But it can always continue to grow and be better, you know.
So something, thank you, Alice, for the titling in the comments. The story of Jazz's roasting bitch face. And thank you, Ash. Thank you for loving my roasting bitch face when no one else did. I'm kidding. Because it's actually really interesting. So I looked at my workplace's organizational chart when it comes to all the executives. Now, I can say with confidence, and it's really awesome, that the majority of the people who hold these executive positions within New South Wales Health, but the Illawarra Shoalhaven region, are majority women, which is really cool for me to see. Obviously, there are men, all good. No issues there. But when the majority of women, it's really empowering. And because in my workplace, majority of the people are women, and they are really inspiring to me, because I'm like, you guys are so kind. You are so motivated and so humble at the same time. And it really makes me believe that I can achieve these things. I can go the next step. I can go to the next level. And you know what? At some point in their lives, they were at the same point where they were like, this is what I want. This is what I want to be. This is who I want to be. I'm going to try my best to get there. And they fucking did. Look at them go. Like, get a bitch.
And like, I'm saying all of this and just saying like, we're not trying to like drag men and men in positions of power. Like, I'm sure you made it there because you were qualified. I'm just saying women sometimes have to work extra hard to get to the same place.
To be accepted as well. Because it's so funny in meetings, for example, there's a stigma of like women just chit chat and just talk shit in meetings, which I found in numerous jobs that I've had. And to the contrary, we just get shit done. We ain't got time to mess around. We get shit done. But anyway, I'll stop talking and we'll move on.
Yeah, I think we're going to move on now from like the female context into more like dancer context. Like now we're going back into all genders are involved. And just being a dancer, like how we grow our confidence.
Yes.
But I want to kind of take it back a step. Instead of jumping straight ahead to look at what we can do to create confidence or to increase our confidence, I want to, again, go back introspective. What are the reasons why we lack confidence? Because I said that that's really important, like figuring out why you don't have the confidence you want. So yeah.
So I think a big part of that as well is comparison. So I think this is something that we all struggle with. Bev's in the back like, yes, I don't know if she's nodding with me or she did something really good in her job thingy that she's doing.
But we're just going to assume she's agreeing with us.
Yes. So I can be we are on the same page. We're all on the same page at some point. And probably still do. We have that fear of, it's a fear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they are so much better than me. But they have done nothing to me. They haven't spoken to me. They haven't interacted with me at all. But I put that on myself where I'm thinking they are so much better than me. And therefore, for some reason, I cannot move further. I cannot keep going. Which is something that I used to feel and experience until I was like, that's whack, Jasmine.
It's like you build your own walls in front of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, there's nothing really stopping you. It's just that you saw someone else and you're like, okay, this is as far as I can go. Like, no.
Yeah, but then how do you get out of that?
Yeah, I think one thing that helped me a lot is I remember this Facebook, like, meme or some shit went viral.
Yes,
but
viral
it
memes.
was very true. It's like, it's basically the message is everyone's on their own timeline.
Yep.
Because there's like basically like a little timeline. It's like 25 years old. At this age, like someone became a CEO, and then at this age, someone
they have a house. They're married. They got kids.
Like, it's just like no matter what age you're at, people are always at different stages of their life. So it's not about where the other person is, about where you are right now. Focus on what you're doing. If you're so focused on what other people do, you're gonna miss out on what you want to do.
Yeah.
you're going to lose sight of who you want to be.
And that also is relevant to the previous statements that we made about surrounding yourself with people who will only help you become the best version of yourself. Because you will come across people who you might vent to and be like, oh, they're so much better than me. And then they will then add and gaslight you and add to the fire and be like, oh, I know how you feel. And then there's no remedy. There's no ways of actually building up. They just, oh, me too. Well, fuck. Guess we're both here. I guess we're both stuck here.
Give you constructive criticism or like things that actually help you.
Yeah. So having the people that you know can also help you with this stuff is really important. I'm not going to say who, but for example, like sometime late at night, like 1 a.m., I received a very long message from a friend who I haven't spoken to in a long time, but it was a massive post and I was like, damn, it's important. And it was about confidence and just believing in themselves and all that good stuff. And then I replied and was, relaying everything that we've been talking about and saying, and it kind of reminded me, I'm like, damn, no matter how much I perceive this person has, growing so much in the past 6 months, I look at them and I think they're, amazing and confident. It doesn't stop. It's like a constant journey you kind of have to keep working on for yourself, and it will never completely go away, I think, but yeah, just having those people around you to help you out.
The fact that sense of like, oh, I'm not good enough, I want to improve, is actually like kind of good if you flip it. Like if you think of it from another point of view, it's like you're craving for that improvement. You want to be better, and that's really good. It's like a motivation for you to learn, to grow, and be better. But just stop using other people as benchmarks. Yeah, you can look up to them. They can
inspire you.
Like sources of inspiration, and you can be aspired. You can aspire to be like them, but don't let their success dictate you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, this bitch went to Caledonia and she was like killing it and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? For example, I don't know if this ever happened, but if someone was like, oh, Tiff went to Caledonia, like, what did she do to like deserve that or go? Well, you'll have me in the back like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, instead of having that mindset, because this does happen with people, they will then do that comparison. Oh, what did she do to get there? And, freaking hell, why haven't I had any opportunities yet? I think it's more about you resetting yourself and digging deeper into yourself and having that conversation with yourself. And if you need to talk about that kind of stuff with friends, then go ahead and do that. But it's a whole you thing that you need to discover. So invest in yourself.
Just try and start to stay more in touch with who you are internally.
Yeah. Because sorry. Like Fire EP coming out next week. Oh no, but like tapping into what Tiff was saying about, it's like having these people who are inspirational to you and having those benchmarks. If you do that constantly, you're gonna start being like, well, what did they do to get there? Or what, why did they get to do this? And then you see other people around you achieving all these great things. Like, just slow down. It is okay. Pat on the back.
And in terms of comparison, we always see the best in others and the worst in ourselves, like I mentioned before. Yeah. But this is the thing, like we always are so quick to pick out things we don't like. Yeah. Why don't we focus on things we like about ourselves? Yeah, because that's something that I've recently learned. It's something that I haven't really like followed through like in the past years. Maybe like, and only in the last maybe year and a half, I really started looking at my dance and be like, and stop looking for things to hate. Cause like
that's
always,
so funny,
like,
I feel you.
Yeah, after a battle, you look at your video and like, fuck, what the fuck is that? I was off bit. But I look at the things that were good, and like, just okay, you did that, girl. You did that. You know. And like, there will always be things that stand out that you don't like, but those are just opportunities for you to take and learn and grow from.
And that's funny because that's something we did a lot with our Hip Hop Nation teams. So I'm not so sure what happened in every other team, but I can only speak for Groovy Gang and Wild Style. But it's something that I was just so, like, us coaches were so, in my team, so just focused on was, okay, yes, we need to train this. Yes, I would like you to try this. But instead of watching your set being like, oh, I didn't try this, I didn't do this, I didn't go to the floor, and making a list of things you didn't do, sometimes you just need that period where you're just focusing on what you did and what you achieved. Because if you're only looking at things to fix, in the long run, how are you ever going to congratulate yourself on things you've accomplished? How are you ever going to be able to find the strength to be like, you know what? I fuck shit up. Go me. It's okay to feel like that sometimes in modest amounts.
It always comes down to perception. You are only as good as you see see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you see yourself as shit, then you're a shit. Kind of like
you're a shit.
Like the manifestation.
A shit.
Like the
Nana.
How do you say manifestation?
Anemone.
Manifestation.
Yes.
Okay.
I love how she had to hold on to me. How do I English?
Speak it till you live it. You know.
What?
Speak it till you live it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard speak to the liver.
What? It's getting late, guys.
We tired.
Our brain not functioning.
I apologize.
Yeah. But with
Cool
that being
energy.
said, still be humble, but just give yourself credit when it's due.
Yeah. And I think it's important as well. I know it's a scary thing because, like, for example, you're friends with people and you're like, whoa, you just said some fuck shit. And then it's kind of like, well, how do you check them? I think honesty is key. So there will be so many times where we might see our friend, for example, Tiff was just hyping herself up so much that it was coming across as just very vain and very, like, a little crazy. One, acknowledge it's important that people have that moment to feel this way, but it's also important that you also let your friends know how it's coming off, because, for example, if she did that every single day of the week, I'd be like, Teeth, bring it down a notch, out of care. It's not like I'm trying to dim her light or her shine, but it's kind of, I want her to be aware of how it will portray to other people. And she has heaps of students who look up to her, so I don't want her students thinking that that's okay to do every single day of the week. I just, being humble is very important, fam.
Yeah, and being on the receiving end, just be mature about it. Your friends are not there to tell you, well, depends, but if you have good friends, if you have good friends, they're there to check you, to make sure you're the best version of yourself. So if they're saying something's up, try and listen first instead of like, why are you attacking me?
And you know what?
Got a little bit of thicker skin.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Have a six-pack concrete. No, I'm kidding. I take that back. Revoke. I think judges at dance comps pretty much comparing people judgment decisions.
We're going to go into that. That's like a little subcategory of battle, because I know battling is a whole different game.
Oh, yeah, that comes later.
We're just talking about that as a dancer, as like someone who chases dance as an art form of self-expression.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
And it's also important to know that, you're not going to always agree. So, for example, if Tiff was checking me on something, acknowledging the conversation is good. But, you don't always have to agree. That's just life. And I think we'll never always be on the same playing field as our friends with those things. So, it's okay. All right. What's next?
I think another source of, like, lack of confidence is worrying judgment from other people. Not just because when it's comparison, you're comparing yourself and other people, but when you think about judgment, there's like this power struggle. When you feel judged, it's because you think that the other person has more power over you, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Because it makes sense in my head, because you see them as someone like higher, so therefore they have the right to judge you.
Sorry, just the way you looked at me was really intense. You're like, was that right? And I was like shook by your eyes. Are you talking about now what Dennis was mentioning about in that setting? No,
not necessarily. It's kind of still like on a general like dancer term. When you're entering like a cypher or like you're performing, you feel that gaze from the audience, that judgment. But really,
naturally.
But really, maybe they're just watching and admiring. They're not really judging you.
And that's the thing, because people will go to these events or to these battles or whatever and be like, I am getting judged. And we'll look down their whole set. And that's something that's taken me a long time to be able to actually look up at people and like dance at people. Something that's taken me like years to be able to do. So if you're trying to get there, it's okay.
Yeah.
It took me a very long time.
This is one thing that Gabby said. I forgot what it was for. I think it was Modsock, like 70 Smoke or something. She was judging. And she said these like real powerful words after her judge solo. And she's like, look, you guys, as judges, we don't look for things to hate. If anything, we're looking for things to like about your set. So don't get so worried if you make a mistake or if you did something that you didn't like. Because honestly, we're probably not even like registering that. We're looking for, he did that little ground move that was fucking sick. He hit that music there and it was fucking dope. We're always looking for things that we like first, at least. So don't worry too much about the bad things. I thought that was like That's true. Like when I judge, I'll be like, wow, they did really, really good there and like here and blah, blah, blah.
It's sometimes little things for me as well. There's been instances where I've judged, and I remember at dance camp in 2016, the biggest reason why I remembered Chun was because he was smiling the whole time. It wasn't even nothing. There's nothing wrong with his dance. The main thing that I came out of that battle with is when he asked me for feedback. I looked at him, I'm like, you smiled a lot. That was really nice. So it's the little things as well. So don't stress it. Yes, Dennis, I agree with you completely. It does feel good when you get props from someone you look up to. Yes. Very lovely.
It does feel good.
Who? Oh, Chun. Hi, Chun.
Mentioned Cambodia.
Yes. Thank you for the little pixel art at the beginning too. But yeah, it's the little things. I remember that a lot. And I remember it's those special moments, I guess, from people you don't know and that they're enjoying it and having a good time. But yeah, sorry, I was talking.
This final little like point I want to make is like again regarding like a source of lack of confidence is not knowing yourself enough. Yeah. When you don't understand why you are dancing, that's gonna fuck you up so much. Because intention and motivation for me is the foundation of my dance. Like you have to step into a classroom or step into a cypher, step into a battle knowing why you are there and what your purpose is for attending or being in that space, occupying that space and time. Why are you there? Sounds fucking like
big brain
but
stuff.
If you think about it, like, it's very true. Your expectation is determined by your purpose, and your experience as well will shift based on why you are there.
Why did you start dancing, Tiff?
Because I thought it was cool. Low-key, I think like for a lot of people it was like that. Like you just saw like a YouTube video of someone and you're like, wow, they can really move.
I know, you saw someone on the street, you saw like a cool movie and you're like, I want to do that. Yeah. And then it's like head spins and you're like, ooh, I didn't know the work that was involved in getting there. So I don't know if I can do these head spins. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, so yeah, same for me. I just thought it was cool. And I watched, Breakin'. Really dope movie. Everyone remember the flying broom in the movie, and Honey and all those other movies and stuff really like made me want to do hippity hop and all the cool stuff. Alrighty, you want to move on?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh wait.
Wait,
no. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, we're Gucci. So we've got half an hour left, everybody. So we're going to try and get through as much as we can. So we're reaching the point where we're going to talk about confidence with attending or involving yourself in battles, ciphers or jams, clubs, parties, all that fun, but also can be quite intimidating stuff. Take it away.
I want to quickly reply to Dennis's question about judges at dance comps pretty much are comparing people as mentioned, it is how you see the... Oh, so he's agreeing to what you're saying.
I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, Dennis. It's because our screen's in half, so I didn't actually think it... I didn't know if it was a question. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't read it properly.
All right, cool then. That's that. But again, I think that relates back to your purpose of attending a battle. If you're going there to win, then you have to accept that judgment. Yeah. Because you're there... There's always going to be a winner and a loser. I mean, if you lose, you just have to accept it, and as long as you gave it your all, then
fine. And something Dennis, you'll probably agree on: stop leaving the event if you don't pass prelims, you silly Billy. Okay, so just event
it's disrespectful as well.
Event etiquette. So this is something for everybody, especially if you're new to any scene. You are going to other events in other countries. Please have a good etiquette and be a good representative, especially if you're going overseas. Don't bail on the event if you didn't pass prelims. I know it can feel sucky. You might have traveled so far and felt like, I put in so much work to get how I didn't pass prelims. That's okay. They didn't see you, okay? In the sense of like, they didn't remember you and that's why you didn't pass. Find ways to make them remember you next time.
And also, like, if you're so upset, think about it. It's kind of dumb. You're letting three... Usually, let's just say that event has
that's
three
dumb,
judges. You're letting 3 people tell you whether or not you're worthy or your value. Yeah. It's like, huh? Yeah, exactly. Based off 30 seconds or 40 seconds of your set. your dance is so much more
I
than that
know.
30 seconds represent.
It
You can't, you can't possibly put everything in your dance arsenal into 30 seconds, you know?
It doesn't determine the rest of your career as a dancer.
Exactly.
And it's a conversation I've had with so many people. So should we actually just get into the topic of battles first and then go on, because we're going to start talking about it. So how about you set it off and then I'll
Okay.
follow on.
So
Yes.
one thing that I find really helps me when I enter like battles, even like cypher jamming, is very simple: practice. Confidence, like what Jackie said, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. It's something that you can build.
What?
And for me, it's like the more I practice dance or whatever I want to practice, the more natural it feels. And it's kind of like, you won't ask a fish, are you confident in water? You know, like,
Can you swim in there?
exactly, like, because it's been doing it its whole life. It's built to do that. It's practiced from the moment it was born. It's like fucking breathing through its gills and shit. You want to get to that level with your dance. Like, just practice so much that it feels like second nature, so you don't even have to think about it. And when you don't think about it, you can really focus on the music and just being yourself. Because I think that lack of confidence often stems from that. I go in there and all I could think of is like, shit, what did I practice? What move fits with this music? But you know that once you reach a certain point, 1 + 1 instantly, you already know it's 2. You don't have to.
Oh, some people don't know it's 2, babe.
You don't have to.
What's no?
It's not like that. Like, it's just like, just drill it so much that it becomes natural for you.
What's 9 + 10?
21.
But yeah, so it's a conversation that I know a lot of people have, and I think it all comes back to things we were mentioning before about having that support circle and doing your best to be vocal for those who you can clearly see or know aren't as confident as you, or they just don't have that strength to really hold themselves up in that setting. And for example, I remember, I won't say names, this is a particular dancer at Hip Hop Nation, which is a competition that we hold here. Shout out Dennis, what's up? And there was this one girl in this team who I know practice until you get to fish level. Yes, Ashley, you are very much correct.
And then we'll get to dolphin level.
Dolphin level, then whale level. Sound effects. But yeah, so there's one girl in this team who I just knew as soon as she stepped out that she wasn't feeling it. And my immediate response is to scream in support so that she can hear me and she knows she's just not out on this, battlefield by herself. And then like 5 seconds after, she was just going for gold. She had a vest on and she was killing it. And I was like, whoa. And then I had to talk to her straight after that battle. And I was like, dude, that was so dope. Like, you were bad biddy. And it was just amazing for me. Because I don't think people realize that when they find that strength to really bring it out and just to do their absolute best on that battlefield, it inspires other people. I've been battling for quite a few years. And for me, it's so inspiring to see people who haven't had that much experience in it really just find the point where they're like, fuck it, let's go. And then they just go for it. And I'm like, whoa, I wish I had that early on.
Yeah, it's kind of what I said at the beginning about like acknowledging the fears there, but still stepping out and just take me, music, take me, floor,
make my body move.
And yeah, it's very inspiring seeing that, because it's like, wow, like I know she was shitting bricks, but she let herself shit and still go. Like, the bricks are all there laid out on the floor. She's building a house with them,
The foundation of her fire set was laying those bricks down. Sorry,
sure
the whole house
but,
is laughing
it made
now.
sense in my head.
The whole house is laughing now. But no, it does. And it's also, I really hope everyone watching this communicate to people when you like something or when you love something, because you really don't know whose day you're going to make. And I've been to events where I don't know someone and I'm like, they're so cool, and then I try to find like the moment where I walk past them or like I bump into them and I'll be like, hey, your set was really good.
And they're probably like,
For real.
Oh my God.
At Destructive Steps, one of my favorite events. In December, everyone. So Ladies Night is one of my favorite events, especially Destructive Steps, because there's so many people I don't know and I'm like, oh my gosh, thriving, women everywhere. And Renee from Perth, She was in my circle.
Oh my god, she's so hot.
Oh, she honestly is so beautiful.
She's my girl crush.
Honestly, she's so beautiful.
Like, look at her Instagram. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
Renee,
wow, she's so
Russo
beautiful.
on Instagram, everybody. She's an amazing dancer from Perth, and she was in my cypher circle for the prelims, and she was before me, and I watched her go, and I was like, whoa, you're so fire. Who are you? And then I did my set, and I was really lucky with the track that I got because it was a track I really like, and so then I went for gold. And then it's so funny. I love watching the videos back of the prelims because you can see me, and I'm like hyping her up, and I'm just like losing. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so cool and she's so beautiful. And then when I went, you can see her like hyping me up and being like, woo, and I'm like, the feeling is mutual. Okay, Instagram live people, it's going to cut out, but we're going to reset it, and we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. All right, Facebook people, do you mind just holding it for about 15 seconds?
I just wanted to, like, it doesn't matter. Instagram people can just miss out on this, and it's super important. It's just building on, like, you know, like, hyping other people up. Like, that's one of the things I want to talk about, like, positive reinforcement for other people. Like, praise them. You know, give them compliments, because slowly you don't know, like, these are like seeds that you plant in other people and like help them grow their confidence. And when other people grow, you grow. We push each other up. Don't just like try and push yourself up and be like, fuck you. No, that's not how like community and scene works. You know?
And I think I heard Papoy is the cat that lives here, and he would like to go outside, but unfortunately none of us can take him outside. You know why? Because Alan is not home. So sorry, Papoy, that cannot happen. Now back on that point. Hello Instagram people, we are back. So I think it's really important. So for example, I've met a lot of people in my life who are quite awkward, don't really know how to compliment people. I saw that Hadley joined the Instagram live. Hadley is going to hate me, but there's a funny story. So one time I got my hair done. Hadley's going to hate me. One time I got my hair done and I walked into the studio, and then Hadley had just finished teaching, and Hadley looked at me and went, "Why do you look nice?"
They're a problem.
And I was like, I got my hair done. He was like,
I hate you.
He hates me. He's on the Instagram. But it was really nice because, you know, I feel like so many different people, it's something that I've learned. So props to Hadley for helping me. But it's something that I learned that everyone has their own way of showing like affection and complimenting people. So for example, in a battle, if I'm watching my footage, you know, I'm not expecting people to be like, "You're the shit. Yeah, that move, blah, blah, blah." I look in the back and I see people like nodding. I'm like, ooh, they liked it, you know? And for example, some people might be like, "Why does your hair look nice?" And I'm like, that's the way they compliment. It's like with my partner Chi, who just joined the live on Instagram. Homie, I'm working on my compliments. Watch out. Oh, Hadley's coming in with the fire compliments. All right, but yeah, so my partner Chi, for example, one thing that I've learned over the course of like 7 years of being together is a way that he shows love is through his actions. And so, for example, he'll like do the laundry, he'll like cook, he'll clean, he'll do a lot of things for my family, for my little brother, and stuff like that. And so everyone has their own ways of showing affection and being able to compliment people. It might not be in the way that you envision it, in the way that you're used to, but take it for what it is, and yeah, just digest it.
Another thing, remember you talked about Paris Gobel, like giving her like a little like pep
hype
talk?
up.
That's something I do as well, especially not so much like ciphers and jams, but battles, especially like big battles, like when I do DS fucking scary shit.
So many F
To
words.
me, like when the first time I did DS, to me it's like the biggest event I've ever been to.
Yeah.
So I was like,
see how much we love DS, guys.
Yeah.
It's not because
I
we're
was
friends with Alice. It's just a really good event.
it's just a dope event, and it's like you get to see so many amazing world class dances.
People fly in for this.
And I was very lucky. I think it was to DS9. I made it to finals for the 3v3.
Yeah, this bitch won.
Okay, let's move on. I just want to talk about my experience, like going into the finals, like that, the moments leading up to going into the finals. Like, it's like, whoa, this is finals. It's like the last stage. I might actually be able to make it. Like, but once you realize your potential, it actually scares you a little.
Yeah.
Like, I can actually win this, and that scares the shit out of you. And what I do is all the time is, like just remind myself, like, Tiff, you can do this. Like, it's just another round. Just be yourself. focus on the music.
Mm.
Literally just talk to yourself and
Yeah.
find ways to calm yourself down. And like it helped me a lot. Like
Were
growing up.
there any other things that happened within your team, the 3v3, yeah, in that team that helped you besides you just talking to yourself? External factors, maybe people around you, your teammates.
David was very funny. He like
helps.
loosened up the mood a lot for us because he's someone who's like, whatever, happy-go-lucky. I don't have any, tricks left. But I'm just gonna, he said he didn't have any tricks left, but boy, he was fucking going off. He was so good. And like he's just so creative, and like his character when he battles, I'm like, wow.
See, we need more of
cool.
this, guys. So when you recognize these things in your friends or people you don't know, don't be afraid to say it, because if anything, I remember there was one day I had a really crappy day at work and I came to teach. And then what was it? It was mid-year concert time. This was I remember a few years ago. And then I think some of the students came in to watch my class, because we usually do that at the studio. Hey, who's free to watch my class? Come in and watch. And then all the kids were like, I remember some of the kids were like, that was a really cool routine, Jazz. Oh, that was so dope. I love that bit with that person and that and that. And I was like, thanks, man. Thanks for letting me know. Because, I think it's important to get these things out. And you feel good letting them know. When they feel good, then you feel good, and it's like a whole feeling of goodness,
Good fest.
Well,
This next little tip, I think it can feel quite like direct or like harsh, but manage your expectations.
manage that.
Sometimes the reason why we don't have confidence is maybe we set too big of goals that are so unattainable that it's like it's just so far away. Try to set smaller goals or like closer goals or like checkpoint goals.
Yeah.
So then they're actually tangible, and that would increase your confidence a lot, because at least it's something that it's kind of like you can make it. Maybe I'm not there yet, but it's something that I know I can do. Don't set things that are like 10 years down the road and you're like, I don't even have the tools to even begin thinking about it.
It's like the whole becoming a teacher thing. Or actually keep it relevant to battles, because we're still on that. Judging, for example. I've had some people mention a long time ago, or actually not recently, but I've had conversations where people have said in confidence to me, I wonder why I haven't been asked to judge. And I kind of think, well, instead of asking me that question, ask yourself that question and think about, the steps in order to maybe get there. And I personally, for me, it's not like I didn't start dancing because I wanted to be a judge. It's a thing that, snowball effect that happens over time. And so I think having, not that you need to do this, but having the view of, I'm just going to keep doing what I love with the best I can, and then everything will come after. Everything will naturally flow, and things will happen for me if I put the work in and all that good stuff. So battles. Okay, now besides kind of allowing yourself to be in that space, what are some tips do you think that could help people who have never battled before, or want to get into battling, or just want to try? I think we need to summarize it.
As in like tips on how to be more confident, or just how to get into it.
This will tie into jams and ciphers, actually, because for example, I didn't just go into a battle.
I did.
Oh, really?
Literally, it was I took maybe a month of popping classes.
And then you're fuck it.
This is in Hong Kong, by the way. I saw this battle come out. It was a 2v2. I was like, perfect. I'm just gonna enter my round because I'm too fucking scared to do it by myself. And we just registered and we did it. I couldn't even hear the music when I did my round. I was so nervous.
You don't remember anything.
I was so nervous that it literally felt like someone had their hands over my ears and the music was just muffled. But I was just so proud that I just did it.
Yeah.
But I think it's different for everyone. I'm just that bitch that's
fuck
it. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, so then it's kind of I think people would want to know and talk about, and please let us know in the comments as well, or let us know in our posts on Instagram. About your experiences. For me, I didn't start battles until after I had gone to some jams or gone to watch some events to see what it's like, what the energy is, what the vibe's about. Just because to me, I hadn't really seen any in real life. I'm going to be blunt with you. I haven't seen any at that point early on when I started. And so then I remember Brooke and another friend of ours, we all went together to Parramatta. It was actually an SKB event. It was one of the anniversary events, and there was a b-boy battle, and I was like, whoa, imagine being your first battle to go watch as a b-boy battle. It was gangster. There was a theme to it as well, but it was just really inspiring because like, man, everyone's so into it, everyone's so strong. There were so many b-girls there too, which was really dope, and it made me think about, what do I want to do? Would I like to try this someday? That looks pretty fun. That looks kind of cool. I can't do head spins though. Would I try in the future? Maybe, but we'll find out.
Yeah, like even just being in that space and watching other people do it can inspire you, give you confidence to try it yourself. Yeah, just watch people who you want to be like,
and then have the conversations with people about it too. Your first battle was a popping battle?
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to say. Like, if you're too scared to enter like straight away a 1v1 battle, maybe like consider like a 2v2, 3v3 with your friends.
A group battle.
Like I said, like when I battle with Oshila, I feel so much like more comfortable, like just doing whatever the fuck, because I'm like, okay, like I've got them, even if low-key, like even if I fuck up, they can save my ass.
Carry the team.
Low-key,
carry the team, Bev. Yeah. Bev, carry the team.
So
Ashley, carry the team.
But it's so true. Like when you enter 2v2, there shouldn't be like a hard carry. Like there should be like a split responsibility. So in a way, there's less pressure for you to be like 100%.
And then you have those battles where it's like you have an experienced person, and then you have like a new generation person. Interesting.
Yeah. But regardless, always try your best. I'm not saying don't try your best, but I'm just saying like it does feel a bit better knowing that there's someone else there with you.
And I think this also ties into ciphers. Now this is something that I feel we get a lot of questions about. We did in our previous podcast is how does someone feel when they watch a circle happen? They want to be a part of it, but they don't know like cypher etiquette. They don't know what is okay and not okay to do. How do they actually get involved? Because a lot of people don't feel like they can just walk up to a circle. I'm talking specifically about those people who are quite new. They don't feel like they can walk up to a circle and join, or they feel like if they walk up and just watch, that's rude. So let's talk about it, fam. Let's talk about it.
First of all, don't be afraid to watch. It's totally okay to watch and like observe. That's part of the circle to just watch. And in terms of etiquette, you can learn from just watching. Yeah. That's how I learned. Like, that's the appropriate amount of time to use the circle. Because there are dancers who hog the fucking circle and just dance for like 3 songs straight. And you're like, bitch, are you done?
You've repeated the same moves for the past 2 minutes.
Exactly. Like, that's something you have to gauge. I can't really tell you exactly, in like 35 seconds you have to leave the circle. No, like gauge the energy of the circle as well. The energy of the circle will tell you how long you can dance.
Yeah. And I think in regards to like cypher etiquette and stuff, it's great to watch, but for example, be aware of the space. If you're taking up the space of someone who would like to dance, just be quite mindful. Aware and use like your peripheral vision and understand, because for example, there'll be some ciphers that you might be watching, whereas you need to give them that energy, you need to be able to give them that vibe. And for example, they're giving you 100, give them 100.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same as when I teach class. If I'm giving my students like all this energy and like awesomeness, I want all the energy and awesomeness back.
Yeah. Learn to, again, like what I said, read the energy of the circle. If they're, like you said, they're giving you, give it back to them. Yeah. Hype them up. Especially when they're not feeling it, give them energy. Like, tell them, like, no, you're doing great. Don't fucking sweat it. Like, just have fun. And, like, another thing, like, with ciphering, your intention going in is really important. Are you there to just, have fun, groove out? Are you there, you want to experiment something new? Because a lot, like, with ciphering, I feel like the exchange is really important between rounds. Like,
it's not really just about you. Yeah. In that moment.
Learning to have a conversation, or like, like they did that, I want to take that and make it my own, or like, I want to experiment with it. Be brave and like, taking things. Don't bite. Not telling you to bite, but
that's a big no. Don't Lots bite. Of people do that at events.
But learn how to learn from other people.
If people bite, check your friends. I've done it before. It was really funny.
And like a cypher is not a battle. You can call people out, but don't make it all about battle. Like
save that for the actual events, unless it's something that you're training or have purposely set this jam for, then but yeah, so let's that was Alice's writing. So we're going to kind of keep pressing on with ciphers and stuff.
One more thing for cypher. Try and jam with different circles. Well, this is cypher and jamming. Try and jam with different people. I know it's more comfortable dancing with friends, and it is like fun.
Yeah.
But if you really want to grow, you have to go outside of your comfort zone and dance with different people.
Different styles.
If you're a whacker, go and dance with breakers.
Yeah.
Go and dance with hip hop dancers. If you're a hip hop dancer, go dance with house dancers.
Change up your music too.
Yeah.
So you never know like what Tiff will play, what I will play, what Alice will play, what Bev will play. And then you'll be like, whoa. And when you practice the style that you might be focused on at the time, with all of their different music, you never know what's going to come out of your body. And you'll be like, whoa, I'm amazing.
Yeah, and like don't be afraid to dance with more experienced dancers. I know a lot of like newer gen dancers that, oh my god, like that's Jasmine, like she's been dancing for a long time.
It's
I don't feel comfortable.
I swear to God.
Like, I don't feel comfortable dancing in front of her. And
Alice agrees.
It's not that. Like honestly, for me, I can only speak for my experience because I don't know other people. But I remember when I first started dancing at UNSW. That's where I started with like mostly my battle and like cypher stuff. I danced a lot with people that were like way better than me skills wise. I was dancing with like Kevin, like all the Fierce Five boys, Kevin, Miguel, Lyndon. I remember seeing Bev at Mudsock, and I was like, oh my god, she looks scary.
Everyone is scary.
She was at Tyree. She was gonna train with Lyndon. I was like, who is this girl? Like, she looks really
she's
cool.
so scary.
She looks so cool. But I don't know, cause like resting bitch face.
Bev, come help me in my resting bitch
But
face.
yeah, like when you throw yourself in the deep end, you might feel shit.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, you're gonna be like, wow, I'm really crap compared to these people. But after training or like ciphering them, jamming with them for like say a solid like 3 months, you come back out.
Yeah.
You'll be so surprised like how much you improve without even knowing.
And I think it's also, we've talked about this already throughout our podcast, but as much as you will think everyone's judging you and looking at all the shitty things that you might be doing, trust me, probably most of the time they're like, oh, look at her work them shoulders. Look at her work that blah, 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 blah.
And we all know what it's like to be in that position. We've all been there. We
I
don't
used to cry.
We don't come out of the womb like knowing how to fucking do a monastery.
I
or,
did
like,
one class and with the shit. No.
Yeah, like you don't.
No.
You're not born into dancing. We all had to build and grow into the dancer we are today. So we totally understand like what it's like to be a newbie. You know?
Just a side note, I mention this all the time, and it's funny because whenever I say this story to my students, Johnny's like, yeah, she did do that. She did go cry in the toilet. So when I first started doing classes and then we're learning about freestyling, I didn't really have that confidence to be able to like willingly hold myself and just go into a circle. And I think because, you know, there's lots of kids and there's lots of different adults, and I find that with children, they're ruthless. Like they'll just go for gold, because, you know, their standards of themselves are just like whatever. They're children, it's whatever. So I used to go and hide in the bathroom and get really upset and just kind of wait until I thought the cypher would be done and then come back out. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm like, all that time I wasted in the toilet, I could have been doing something. And that's what helped me motivate myself more. But yeah, I think if everyone can be a bit more vocal or not be afraid to just compliment everybody. If, for example, you know, as much as I think that social media shouldn't be like the only reflection of your dancing, if she posted a video and, you know, I watched it, I'm like, dope. Instead of just watching it and thinking, oh, dope, I might comment and be like, hey, I really liked what you did at this point. Love heart, you know? Don't be afraid to be more vocal about those things.
I recently had so you know how like during quarantine there were a lot of online battles?
Yes.
And I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
Woohoo! Sorry, let's get into this.
I did one called GS Online.
Same.
And also second round of the Hip Hop Nation one.
Ah, yep.
I got into
Showdown.
Hip
Hop Showdown.
Oh, Hip Hop Showdown, yeah. It really got into my head. Like I was I fucked myself up. I was so nervous. Every round that I filmed, I hated.
She actually hated.
Yeah, I remember like just I was stressing about telling her about it, and she had like the same issue as well with like another one of the online battles.
Okay, but let's just be realistic for everyone watching. How many times did you record your videos? Let's be real, because I'll tell you how many times I did.
Let me just tell you, my gray shirt went from light gray to dark gray. by the end of like all the filming.
Yeah,
I did many rounds. I think I took like 2 hours filming.
Yeah.
And I didn't like a single video that I had.
And then you get to the point where you're tired, you're not feeling it,
I actually cried.
Yeah.
Afterwards. I called Shazam and I was like,
It happens to the best of us, guys.
I called Shazam and I was like, I hate all my sets. I existential crisis. What am I doing with my life?
And then when you actually settle down and realize that, you know, we are literally in lockdown, there are a lot of other factors that are contributing to maybe her stress, and like she doesn't have the support system around her to give her that energy. I'm like, damn, sis,
And
that
like,
sucks.
Just a little extra before we finish up this section. I actually messaged Nyako after that. I asked him, bro, like, were there any times where you didn't like your dance or you just struggled to just dance?
Yeah.
And he was like, of course. And he sent me a judge solo. This was when, like, not Nyako, like young 16-year-old Nyako. This is when he was already an established dancer.
Yep.
He was judging around the world. And even at that point, like someone who has so much skill and experience, he also feels the same way we do. Yeah. So I'm just telling you now, the nerves never go away. Yeah. And shitty feelings sometimes just pop out of nowhere. And we're just human. You have to understand, we're not superhumans.
Definitely
we're
not.
just human, and we're emotional beings. So acknowledge those feelings and understand that we have bad days, but don't let those bad days define your dancing.
It's a 30-second video. 45-second video.
Exactly.
Yeah, I actually recorded one of my online battles. It was the first one I had done, or had ever participated in. I recorded it over 20 times in the same day. And I honestly think back and I'm like, wow, I did that. I put myself through that. And it was funny. The video that I finally submitted was the one that I had Chi record for me. The other 19 I did by myself, and then I got to a point I'm like, Chi, can you just record for me? And you can't hear it, but he's hyping me up the whole time I dubbed the video, and it made me feel a lot better. And I kind of thought I needed people. I needed someone with me. And you know, that's not for everyone. Some people are real strong within themselves and can hold themselves, but some of us, you know, need that connection.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Q&A.
Yeah. So guys, we've reached the Q&A part of this section. So we did receive some questions online, which we're going to talk about now.
First one is from Angelica from Project Beats.
Yeah, Angelica, hello.
Said, how do you deal with self-doubt when it comes to your dance abilities?
How do you deal with self-doubt when it comes to your dance abilities?
Again, I think that stems from comparison.
Yeah. I think we've all gone through it, and I think it's something a lot of us still deal with to this day. And then, like Tiff was saying, it all comes from intention. So it took me a long time to realize that, why am I doing what I'm doing, and do I enjoy what I'm doing? So for example, I posted like, I felt like dancing one day because I just moved. I've been going through a lot the past 3 weeks, and I kind of was like, got home, I feel like dancing. Yeah, I feel like dancing. And I just did one recording, and then I watched it, and I was like, yeah, that, you know, it's not my best, but this is what I felt and what I did in the moment, and I'm okay with that. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point where I am okay with that, and I have to sit with it and just be content with it.
Yeah.
Posted it. It's not, you know, you don't have to post everything that you record, guys. I've recorded so many dance videos where I just haven't posted it because I didn't feel the need to. I don't want to. Off the table, Papoy. That is food and pizza. Papoy is the cat.
And another thing is like acknowledging where you are in your journey, and just be happy you made it this far.
Exactly.
Like, don't dwell so much on like, oh my god, I want to be there, but I'm
where
here.
You're not at.
Yeah, exactly. You're here. Like, just enjoy being here and being at this level, and enjoy learning and growing. And like, oh my god, I'm gonna go take this person's class. I'm so excited to learn this new thing. Be excited to learn and to grow. Don't be sad that you're not where you need to be.
Where you want to be.
You decide where you put the focus.
Yeah. Whoa, that looked real hectic.
Perception is a lot, like, is how you see things.
And and so like for everyone who was wanting to travel this year, everyone in this room,
I was supposed to move to Berlin.
Yeah, this bitch was meant to leave me. So yeah, everyone who wants to travel this year, especially, I know we're all like, god damn, you know, I can't do this, haven't been able to do this. The one thing that I've gotten out of it was, I am lucky and privileged and blessed to have my health, to have my friends, and you know, dance isn't going anywhere. Get off the table, Papoy! You are on my pizza. Naughty kitty. Can Papoy say hi? Alice is coming in, guys.
Alice is gonna bring the cat,
and hopefully he has.
Ashley's gonna be like, yeah.
Ashley, look, it's a Papoy. Wait, you'll be in the. Oh no, he's gonna scratch me. He's gonna scratch me. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, guys. He is gone now.
Next question is from Joshua. What are some experiences of being overconfident about something, but it didn't turn out the way you expected? What lessons did you learn from that?
Overconfident. It's so funny. It's a funny question because there's been so many moments where I've been not confident at all, and then I have surprised myself as a end result. Can you think of any in particular?
have.
Okay, you go, and then I'll think of mine.
So before I went into freestyle and hip hop and like all of this, I used to be super into urban choreography.
Lol,
Believe it or
good
not, I used to
topic.
be a choreography
topic.
person. Oh yeah, hashtag not gonna use urban anymore. I just call it choreography. I used to do choreography, and I got to a point where like I got pretty good at it, and
She was really good.
my ego expanded. This was back in Hong Kong when I was like maybe
skyrocketed.
yeah, this was when I was maybe like 15, 16, so I was young and stupid as well, on top of being too full of myself. Like, I just got good at what I was doing, and I thought I was the shit, you know?
I love that you were like, you feel that. I thought that I was the shit.
Yeah. I think I didn't do so much, like, externally and, like, you know, impose, like, my dominance on other people. But it was more, like, internally, I was like, I know I'm better than you. I never openly expressed it, but even just internally, it was such a toxic thing to have. And it was funny because, like, no one said anything, but my teacher at the time, he spotted it, and he just, like...
Checked you.
Yeah, he checked me. He broke me down back to, like... And he, like, brought me back down.
Ground zero.
Yeah, he brought me back to earth. And I think, yeah, it's just important to have those people around you that you know they got your back when you're doing too much.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that, you know, as much as you think they're hating on you, if they didn't care, they wouldn't... Or didn't care enough, they wouldn't have said anything and just let you be shitty. But I think it's important to have those friends. Like, there's been times where, for example, I'm calling out Wild Style now. Wild Style, I'm calling you out now. I don't know if any of you are watching, or I'm going to tell you when I talk to you later. There's been times where, for example, they said they'd do something, or they'd post this set then, or, you know, in training, they said they'd achieve something, or blah, 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 and then they don't come through. It's okay. But don't tell me that, you know, we're doing all this stuff to get there, but we're not working to get there. Be real about it. So, yeah, I think this goes for everyone with ego-wise that, you know, if...
Accountability.
Yeah. We'll check you because we care about you. And same goes for us. Like, we've been checked multiple times throughout our lives because we're lucky that we have people who care enough about us to be able to do those things for us.
I remember you posted something about don't be afraid to acknowledge your ignorance.
Yeah.
Because... it's fine. We're not perfect. I always come back to like, we're humans. We're not perfect. We have to make mistakes to learn. So don't be afraid to be like, oh, I fucked up, or like I was overconfident here. Yeah. And just learn that, you know, just be more humble and like focus on the things that matter. Don't focus on like dumb shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a journey. So for example, like if you're doing well, you know, in any aspect of your dance journey, career, I think it's important to remember that, you know, you're not the only one who's working towards a goal. You're not the only one who's working hard. We're all, the community in dance, the global dance community needs to be in it together. And I think the less shit talking that there is and the more unity, as much as we can have of it, we do have English, yes, will be great. That didn't, you know what I'm saying if you know what I'm saying. But if you don't know what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying.
No, I'm saying. Yeah, English. But yeah, I just know there's been so many instances with friends, with people in my life, they've been checked and they've been like resistant, and I'm like, that's your ego speaking.
And another thing that I remind myself is your success is not entirely your own.
Yeah.
A lot of people
have contributed to it.
Yeah, contributed. So just remember that your roots and like what fed you and what helped you grow to where you are now.
Yeah, like who are your teachers? Who were your friends that gave you advice? Who were the people around you when you started? Who were the people who guided you? Who were the people that gave you opportunities? Who were the people that actually gave you energy and time to help you be the person you are today? So like all of our teachers, all of our friends, the people we surround ourselves with, the studios we teach at, they give us the platforms and the air and the expertise to be where we are. And the friends that we have, not even in dance, like in all other aspects of the creative arts, DJs, DJ Boy Bap, and all of our other
graphics designer, people who
exactly.
create like event t-shirts or like event posters.
Yeah. Alice can literally do everything.
Can't do everything, well, except for Alice, but
yeah,
nothing can be
legit though. Alice does
nothing
everything.
great can be accomplished alone. I believe in that.
Yes, and so I think it's important, no matter how good we get, just remembering. Alan just got home, and he's trying to be really quiet, and he's like tiptoeing to his room. It's all good.
Imagine if it was just hear like things fall.
And then the curtain crashes down.
But yeah. Before we end, are there any more questions?
So we'll give you guys a minute to write on either the Instagram or on the Facebook.
Or like just how you felt listening to this podcast. Do you feel like it helped you?
Yeah.
Are there things you want to add?
But yeah. Just to add on to that other stuff, just being that person that you wish you had. And I find that training together really helps. Yeah, you guys can organize a day and time to train, but actually do it together. Don't just train next to each other. That gets a bit boring. And it's nice to have that exchange and do as much research as you can, guys. And did you want to mention this? Go, Tiff.
Yeah. Okay, guys, go on Google if you have time. Search for the Dunning-Kruger effect. But basically, it talks about the correlation between like when your knowledge in whatever field you're studying in increases, your confidence will actually like. So it goes from like.
I'm trying to draw it for you.
They call it Mount of Stupidity, where in the beginning.
You're like,
kind of know a little bit and you're like, yeah, I'm the shit.
I know what I'm doing.
And then as you know more, your confidence drops. Yeah, your confidence drops. And then as it grows even more, you kind of come back up a little bit and you're like, things are starting to make sense, but you know that there's so much more to it that you have to learn. Yeah. So I think we all kind of go through that curve. So just know where you are in that curve, you know? If you're at the amount of stupidity, just know that it'll come crashing down once you start learning more.
It'll come crashing down, everyone.
Yes. I think my amount of stupidity was that what I talked about, like when I was doing urban dance and I thought I was a shit, and then I got brought back down, and then I started, humbling myself, really like putting in the work to like educate myself and like asking people questions, learning more about the culture, the art, history, whatever.
So just to bring that back into play before we close it off, because there's been so many times where it's okay to know that, you're good. But to really exert that onto others is kind of like, calm down, sweetie. Like, you don't need to tell me that you're good. I have eyes. Yeah,
excellence will speak for itself.
Exactly. So I think that's something everyone can learn from. And you don't go fishing for compliments. They'll come to you when they're due.
Oui. Cool. I don't think anyone has submitted any other questions. If you do, make sure you DM us or like just comment afterwards. We will be happy to reply them. Yeah. To end our podcast, like last week we did a little spotlight of local artists and dancers, whatever. This week we have a girl. So it's a full stop girl. So she debuted at the scene with her emotive track 2142.
Boom,
and her sound reminisces classic hip hop and R&B pop with a distinctive contemporary edge. Boom. So 2124 is basically the Parramatta postcode, and it's like an area that she grew up in, and she really like felt like has shaped her into the artist she is today, and taught her a lot about the good and bad in life, and made her the tough skin kind of girl she is now. So it's a song about that, and I really enjoyed the song. I met her last year when I was working for Studios 301, and she's so lovely, so talented. So she's doing big things. Like, you can check out her interview with Red Bull, Triple J and stuff. Yeah. Her music's really good.
Side note, everyone, use the resources that you have to do the research. So just a side note, if you ever want to find something out, don't expect people to give you all the information that you want or need. Go and look out for local artists, how you can support local artists. Go and look at information for hip-hop culture. Go look for information regarding confidence. And actually, take the initiative to do some research and, find some things out for yourselves. Okay? Initiative. Alrighty. Thanks for joining in, guys.
IG Live, we're going to shut it down now.
Bye, IG people. Bye. Thank you for joining. Wow. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah. Pretty little girl, trapped inside your picture perfect world. Wouldn't understand it cause you take your place for granted. You a bougie Gucci bandit kind of girl. I keep 100 no matter where it be. Oh, you got dollars, yeah, that don't mean shit to me. Wouldn't understand it, and it's not the way I planned it. In my busted broken bitch kind of world. She read
A South Granville home.
Shooting in Sydney's West.
The 16-year-old was stabbed in the stomach at Granville
A
Border.
bullet struck this.
Sprayed with bullets.
Police expect to arrest 2 schoolboys over the
Targeted shooting this week.
Government of not
stabbing of a student.
on crime.
A South Granville.
Sydney's West.
There's more needs to be done to make our streets safe.
See red and blue when you move along. No matter what you do, you're in the wrong. Gotta keep your money and your grind on the down low. Gotta keep your money and your grind on the down low. Keep it G with myself, with the players and the hustlers. Can't really trust nobody else. Speaking bad, I have to bust her. Can't really guarantee I'll be a good girl. I'm not the fitting image for a good world. 2142, keep on repping for the crew. Better watch your every move where I'm from. Now you know the place where I belong. No up or down, no left or right or wrong. Pull up, come through, either red or blue. Doesn't matter, tell me how you roll. 2142, yeah, I already told ya. Just tryna kick it with my homies and some doja. You didn't understand it cause you took your place for granted. Now you lost yourself inside your little world. See red and blue when you move along. No matter what you do, you're in the wrong. Gotta keep your money and your grind on the down low. Gotta keep your money and your grind on the down low. Keep it G with myself, with the players and the hustlers. Can't really trust nobody else. Speaking bad, I'll have to bust her. Can't really guarantee I'll be a good girl. I'm not the fitting image for a good world. 2142, keep on repping for the crew. Better watch your every move where I'm from. Sink or swim, you gotta have thicker skin to handle all the really rough times. Losing my mind.
Rico, you can't do nothing, bro. Don't do nothing.
Sink or swim, you gotta have a thicker skin to handle all the really rough times. Losing out my mind. Keep it G with myself, with the players and the hustlers. Can't really trust nobody else. Speaking bad, I'll have to bust her. Can't really guarantee I'll be a good girl. I'm not the fitting image for a good world. 2142, keep on repping for the crew. Better watch your every move. Keep it G with myself, with the players and the hustlers. Can't really trust nobody else. Speaking bad, I'll have to bust her. Can't really guarantee I'll be a good girl.